So you might be wondering why I'm not wearing any ears, and if you can see by the title of this video, it's because we're going to make some today. Hello everyone and welcome to Kimmy's Shrine. So if you're new here, then this is a playlist where I do everyday sort of items that you can turn into Disney. So obviously some of the ones I've got in the playlist already are like makeup tutorials. So if you want to have a makeup inspired look by say like Rapunzel or Belle from Beauty and the Beast, that kind of thing. So I've already done those videos. So this one, like I said, is going to be how to make ears. Now on my vlog that I did a while ago, I did actually do like a practice run, so I made a few things thinking, right, can I actually make them? So I'm not an expert, this is just me watching quite a few YouTube videos and then just doing my own spin on it, so doing what I think is more comfortable. So if you want to learn how to make Disney ears, then keep on watching. So one of the reasons I wanted to make ears is because recently I've been DIYing my clothes. So for example, this top here, this was originally a pajama top and I literally just cropped it down to make it a little bit more stylish. So the fabric I've actually got for it, I'm actually going to turn it into ears today. Now I did this with a lot of my clothes, so all of these here are tops which I cut down, so I've got all this material here to turn into ears, and I've also got old pajama bottoms as well which I'm going to cut out as well at some stage. I will link all down below the materials that you need. Obviously as I go through it you'll see. So it's one of those things that I'm looking at thinking, right, do I have everything? So if you want to learn how to make Disney ears, then keep on watching. So like I said, I've got all my material here, so I'm just going to get rid of the ones that I'm not using. So let's just get rid of you, put you to one side. So I'm just left with the material that I do want to work with. Let's turn it right way around. So I'm just left with the material that I do want to work with. So on this one, I do actually have a few Disney princesses on here. And I did make a list of ears that I don't actually have princesses for. And one of them was actually Snow White. So I'm actually going to use the Snow White designs on this to make some Snow White ears. And then if I've got any material left, I might do some other ones. But to be honest, I've got quite a lot of material down here for the other princesses. That's why I thought I'll just focus on Snow White. So I've got Snow White there. And I also have it on the other side there, so I'm going to try if I can, or what I might do, or just thinking, maybe one side would be Snow White, and then the other side would maybe be like another character, like say Aurora for example. So one thing I would suggest doing is actually have a template of ears. So to get my desired ear shape, so these are going to template for all the future ears that I use. So to do this, I literally just got a glass that I like the size of. So for example, I use this one here, which is my Belle one that I got from my Tokyo subscription. And I basically just trace around it, and then I got a hairband that I liked, and then I just cut out on the hairband the bits where obviously it's going to stick down. So these are now my template ears, so these are the ones I'm always going to use for future. Once you know what size you want, I would suggest to keep those. Now this I actually got from Claire's Accessories. This cost me, what was it, £5, so it was like a bog standard one which I thought would be nice for Snow White. Obviously you can do any colour you want, that kind of thing, but we're going to come back to that later. So now you've got your standard ears, you need something that's a bit bigger. Now what I used was this. So this is actually from my Clinton's haul that I did a while ago. So this is actually a candle holder, but I thought size-wise of it, because I'm thinking if that's my ears, this is now bigger, so I've got excess material for when I actually come to sew in. So all you need to do is work out what you want. So for example, like I said, I want a Snow White. It probably does work out better to get something you can see through, because I'm obviously having to do a bit of guesswork here, so I'm having to make sure that Snow White is more or less like covering the whole of that, but at the moment that looks good. And then I'm just going to take a pen, it could be any pen that you want, and I'm just going to draw around it. You can do this, I was going to say, on the safe side, if your material is see-through, which this one is, on the safe side, as you're putting pen on it, you can obviously do it on the other side. So like I said, so just measure it up and think, okay, yeah, that looks good. And then I'm just gonna draw very lightly round this one, because this is what we're gonna cut out, and this will be one of the ears, so that'll be one side. Now I think the other Snow White that I wanted was, where is she? She's there. So this is the other Snow White that I wanted. Yeah, so that would obviously be one set of ears, so like one side, but like I said in the intro, maybe I should do like another one. So I've got a Cinderella one there. Who do I have on the other side that I can use? So I could do 2 Cinderellas, so obviously I can have one side Snow White and the other side Cinderella. So I'm just gonna draw around this one. There. So once you've done that, all you need to do is cut it out. Right, so once you've got all of your circles, so like I said, so I've got 2 Snow White ones and then I've got 2 Cinderella ones. Now it is optional how you do this. For example, I want Snow White to be on one side of the ear, so when you're looking one way it looks like Snow White, but when then you're looking the other way it looks like Cinderella. So basically what I'm doing, I'm going to actually sew these ones. So the ones that I'm going to use, I'm actually going to use a pink one, but I'm actually going to do it with these inside out. So basically what I'm going to make sure is that now I've got one side of the ear and the other side of the ear is obviously one side would be like that. So okay, I want that one to be there, or you could do it so it's more like that. It is obviously optional. So for example, they're probably going to look something maybe like that. So like I said, so you've actually got them at an angle. So now I know that. I'm just going to do that with Snow White as well. So I might want Snow White. How is she? So maybe have Snow White looking like that. So now I know that, and I've got them on the sort of side that I want them to. Like I said, I'm going to sew them in the middle. So I'm just going to flip this one over to then be on this side, and then that one to be over on this side. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around here, but I'm going to leave a little gap there so we can obviously put the filling in. So for me personally, I do like to sew. Like I said, I'm going to use pink one. So it's obviously going to be on the inside, so you're not really going to see it. So obviously you can use whatever colour you want. But for me, just in case you do see it, at least it's a nice colour. But yeah, so I'm just going to literally sew all around there, leaving a gap, and then do the same on that one as well. So don't worry about it being a bit messy, because remember this is on the inside of it, but when you get to a point when you think, okay, that is roughly where the headband would go, you just need to obviously make sure you don't go any further than that, because obviously we need to fill this in. So the best thing to do is obviously just to then tie a good knot in here to make sure it doesn't come undone. So just so we can see what we've done, I'm just going to flip it the other way around so obviously you can see. But yeah, so that at the moment, that is one ear. So obviously you've got Cinderella on one side and then you've got Snow White on the other. So I'll show you how to do this one, then I'm going to do the other one off camera because obviously it does take a long time. So obviously we've got these ones here. So these are the ones that we use to know the shapes. We know that's exactly the shape there. So you can use foam. I don't have foam personally. I do have some leftover Easter egg boxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this 3 times. So technically it'd be 6 because obviously 3 for each ear. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to trace this 3 times, and then once I cut them out, I'm going to put that in the little ear here, and that's going to be the structure for it. Right, so now you've got those, like I said, so 3 I found enough. You can do more if you want, or like I said, you can get foam or something a bit more sturdy. So all you're going to do now is, in that gap that we've got, going to pop that in, which we know it's going to fit because I said we did measure it based on the other ones, obviously they fit. So basically what you want to do is the bottom bit, obviously where the headband's going to go, that is where you obviously have the opening, so that's where the bottom bit is there. So once you're happy with the layout of that, so as I said, that is Snow White, and then you got Cinderella that side. Now this again is optional what you use. I just went to Superdrug and I just got this cotton wool, so it's basically just sheets of cotton wool. You can use whatever you want. I like these because they are quite big, so I just pull them apart ever so slightly, and then where the cardboard is, I stuff one side of the cardboard. Once I'm happy with that, I then go on the other side and stuff that. If you wanted a flat ear, you can stop there, that is optional. It's just I like my ears to be a little bit poofy. So I'm just going to make sure the card is in the right place, and then yeah, just very gently I'm just going to put this in, and I'm just going to stuff it at the top and just make sure that it's definitely like around the edges there. But yes, I'm happy with that side, so I'm just going to go on to the Snow White side. But always make sure where that seam is obviously on the edges, so that you're not got like the seam over one side too much, so just kind of push it back a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So once you're happy with that, this is again optional. I do actually have some fabric glue, so I just bought this from Asda. This was £1. This is what I actually tested my other ears on, so when I did my practice one, this is the glue I used, because I was like, okay, I want to make sure, not to say it's like, I didn't want to buy cheap glue, but at the same time, I was like, I didn't want to spend too much on it. So yeah, so this is just all, you know, just all-purpose fabric glue. So what you're going to do, you're going to make sure that all of the cotton is pushed down. You're going to make sure that the cardboard is in the correct place. And then what you're going to do, you're actually going to fold over the edge so that it creates the little dip where you're going to stick it on there. Now with these, I know this one in particular, it's very gluey and very stringy. The best way I can describe it is almost like Spider-Man's webbing. It is very like stringy. So what I like to do, I like to get one side and tuck it, and then get the other side just to kind of lie flat on it. So the bit that I've tucked under, that's the bit, oh she says, that's the bit that I'm going to glue down. But like I said, just use a tiny little bit to start off with, because just in case you make a mistake, if you put too much on, you can't correct it. And then I'm just going to stick that glue down. So I'm just going to stick the fabric down. So yep, so when you're happy with that, obviously I'll show you in a minute how to do this, but we will obviously be attaching it onto the ear. But for the moment, I'm just going to go do the other one, and I'll be right back. Right, so I'm back. So I've got my ears now, so they are made. I've got my headband. So now all you need to do now is to work out whereabouts you want the ears to go. So if you're like me, I do like to have a bow, so technically they're Minnie Mouse ears, not Mickey ears. So I like to obviously make sure there's a bit of a gap in the middle, so obviously that's where I can put the bow. Now it's optional, you can play it by eye, or you can get like another set. For example, if you've got another set of ears, and obviously you can place it and then mark it that way. Normally I like to judge it, that's how I've been doing it. So for example, I'm thinking, okay, that looks about center, that's roughly where I want it, so I'm just going to take one away. And then I'm just going to glue the bottom bit of the ear there. Oh, like I said, this is very gloopy. And then I just push it down, and then I just hold it until I know it's in place. I don't know any other way of doing this. Like I said, I have sewn as much as I can, but for this part, I only know how to glue it down. I don't know if there's any way of obviously sewing them down. I don't know. So like I said, so if there's a way that you wanted to do it without using any fabric glue, please let me know, because I would be interested to do it that way. But at the moment, this is the only way I know how to do it. So, like I said, so I'm just gonna press that one down as well. I got a bit worried then. I was like, have I put Snow White on the right side? Because I was worried thinking, oh my god, have I done Snow White one side and then Cinderella the other side? And I was like, nope, Snow White is definitely both on this side and then Cinderella is definitely on the other side. Right, so I'm just going to put that to one side for the moment. Oh, she's got glue everywhere. Oh, no, not on my desk, there's glue everywhere. Right, people will probably normally put like something down to stop that from happening. No, not me. So I'm just gonna, like I said, put this to one side. So on to the bow. So the best way I know how to do this, like I said, I'm gonna use the original fabric from this because I think this would be quite cool to use, is I'm gonna need to try and get a rectangle. So you can see what material I have left to make a good rectangle, because I want to do two bows, because I want to do a bow either side of it, so regardless of which side you have it on, one side will have a bow and the other side will as well. So I think one rectangle I can maybe make out of this bit. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going to create the actual bow bit, so I'm going to glue this bit down and then this would be the bow. So glue. Right, so what I'm going to do is more or less halfway like that. So I'm just going to put some glue on that side of it. Don't worry about these edges, we can clean it up in a moment, so don't worry if they're a little bit messy. Then I'm going to take this and then put that very gently over it because I don't want the glue to like come out at the ends. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tidy up these edges. So what you basically end up with is just this bit here. Oh, get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is eventually I'm going to scrunch it up so it actually makes a bow shape. And now it is optional how you want to do it, whether you want to do it that way around or that way. If you want to, you can do it that way if you prefer the patterns on that side. To be honest, that's actually not too bad, even though this is technically the back, but that's not actually that bad to that way, so I might actually do that. And then with another piece, let's see, not that piece, and then yep, that'd be a good piece. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a long rectangle. Say that bit there. It's not necessary to do any more, that is optional. So what I'm going to do with this bit, I'm literally just going to scrunch this up. Like you can see, it makes a bow shape, and while it's still in that shape, I'm just going to get my glue. Let's get the glue first, shall we? So, and basically where it joins there, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue just to help that bit stay on. It is so stringy, so that would obviously help that. But then while it's still wet, I'm just going to put that on the middle as well. And then, oh, she says, and then when it's still scrunched up, I'm going to wrap this around. I'm going to try and make it as tight as I can, because obviously then that will help with the bow shape. And then once you're done, hopefully when you wrap it round, it should be on the back. So I just put a bit of glue just on the back there, and then attach that, make sure that is stuck down, and then just fan out the bow a little bit, just so that it looks a little bit more bow shaped. I have noticed I didn't cut this properly here, so I'm just going to trim that just to make it look a little bit more tidy. That is more or less the bow there. So I'm just going to see how my ears are doing. So the ears have been stuck on for a few minutes. They're not 100%, so they are still a bit floppy. I'm just going to see, like where the edges are there, they're not 100% down. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and I'm just going to put a tiny little bit just to kind of glue that down. Yet again, doesn't matter if you make a mess with this, because where the bow is going to go is going to cover some of this up. Now what I did was, if you remember these clips, if you've been watching my videos for a while, I actually got these clips from Clinton's, and what I did the other day to make sure it stays down is I actually clipped the fabric down onto the headband so the glue kind of stayed there. So I'm just going to check the other side. At the moment that doesn't look too bad. So while I'm doing that, like I said, I've got the one bow, so I'm just going to make another bow and I'll be right back. So yeah, so I'm just going to unclip these. So these have been sat for about 5 minutes just to make sure that they're glued down, and it gave me a chance to make my 2 bows, so obviously one for the front and one for the back. Now yet again, it's still a little bit floppy, so what I find is obviously the more fabric you have for the bow, you can actually stick it down to kind of keep it there in place. So I'm just going to see which one I like where. I think I like this one there because it actually has the castle there, and I associate obviously with Cinderella's castle, like in Disney. I associate that more than say Snow White. So I'm just going to put some glue. I'm going to actually put it on the top bit here so that it sits there. So I'm just going to place that on top. So yet again, I'm going to use my clip just to kind of clip it in place. I just found that these really helped kind of keep it there, just on the basis that me holding it is probably not enough, so the fact that it actually clamps it in place. So while that's doing that, I'm just going to go and do the other side. Oh, no, why can't I do it? Come on, Mickey, you can do it. Aha. So yeah, so I'm just going to leave that for a few minutes just while obviously it clamps down, and then we'll come back and we'll just glue down the rest of the bow. Yep, so that is just sat for a while, so I'm just going to take this clip off and this one just to make sure. But yeah, that seems in place. Now, like I said, that is optional. You can leave it there if you like. But like I said, personally, I want to keep these a bit more structured. So I'm actually going to glue some of these down as well. And it just makes the bow kind of stay out a bit more, because sometimes after time, because it's only a small bit of fabric, I find that it can get a little bit limp. Now, once you've done that, you can obviously check, you know, they're not as floppy as they were before. If you find in there still a bit too floppy, what I'm going to do with the bows actually in the middle there, I'm just going to glue those two together, like I said, just to give it a little bit more structure. But yeah, that is more or less it. So that is how I make my Minnie Mouse ears. You can, if you want to, get another band. You know, obviously can decorate the band as well. I purposely go for a band that's quite wide. I like those ones because I find they stay on my head a bit more. Like I said, I just got the band from Claire's Accessories, so I think I've got ones in the past like from Poundland and stuff like that, so a few pieces you can get them from. But yeah, so let's just do the test and see if it works on my head. So yeah, so I'm just going to see, wait, I've got a hair in my mouth. Yeah, so I'm just going to see whether they fit. So I'm just going to do the Snow White side first. So, yep, so that is the Snow White side. So hopefully that looks okay with the bow. And then I'm just going to check it on the Cinderella side, just so we can see if the bow looks good as well. But yeah, so that is it. So that is how I made my Minnie Mouse ears. So if you like these videos, then please give me a big thumbs up. Obviously, I do other things on the channel as well. As you can see behind me, I do videos based on the things I've got on my shrine. Like I said, these Disney Day playlist videos are kind of like now and again. It does obviously take a long time to make stuff, so that's why for a while I've not done anything. But I do have some other videos coming up soon as well. So if you're not already, then please subscribe. And if you click the bell notification, then obviously get notified when I do more Disney Day videos. But yeah, that is it. So I'll see you guys next time. Later days.